It's Moira, small time Moira, killing Moira, loving Moira. It always really hurts. Hi, welcome back to Death Before Booze. I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
And thank you for joining us again for our paranormal true crime podcast.
We talk about Moira.
Moira. I was going to say, you already know what we're doing because I sang it. So this week's topic is small town Moira. Yeah. Do we even think we have to cover the top? I think we're okay.
Just Death Before Booze Day is the 21st, and get excited.
Get excited. Yeah. Death Before Booze. Gotta love it. Appreciation Day. Yeah. Okay. So then this week, like I said, we're covering small town murder, and I go second. So tell me a story. Yay.
All right. So this is actually, I was telling Sam, like a shorter story because it was hard for me to find stuff, but I have a ton of sources. So when you look at the website, you're going to be like, what in the hell? Because I looked everywhere for this because I was not going to give up. So this is the murders of Jeff and Jesse Ryan and Jason D. Hahn. So we're in Maine. We're in Amity, Maine for today. Amity is a small town in Maine near the Canadian border.
Cool.
With just 230 residents.
Wow.
Right?
That's like nothing.
Everybody knows everybody type of town, even though the closest neighbor was at least a mile away. So, lots of land. It was a town where people slept with their doors unlocked, of course.
You know, bears can open doors. Do they know that out there? Because I know that down here, and I feel they need to know that too. Bears can open doors. I've seen it on television. I feel it's true.
I don't know if they're... I don't know what's going on up there, but according to the 2010 census, I didn't look at the 2021, there were 238 people, 102 households, and 65 families living in this town.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a really small town.
Yeah. What do they do for fun, you think? Wait for the bear to open their door?
I mean...
sit there and stare at the door and it's like, hey, is Yogi going to come and visit?
Come in tonight?
Tonight the night? Today is the day!
I love that. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's a hunting. It's near Canada, so I'm assuming it's like that coldish time when it's winter, so you can do ice skating and stuff. And
go find the mooses. The moosin.
Yeah.
Mooses.
Meese
and moss. Mooses. I don't know what the fuck they're called. But those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like
scary.
that. I don't think that's... Yeah, they're fucking scary.
Yeah,
don't bother with the moose.
Don't go near a
moose.
Leave
the mooses alone. Yeah.
So, we're talking about first, we're going to talk about Thayne Ormsby. Thayne.
Isn't that the bad guy from Batman with the tubes?
No, that's Bane.
Oh. I was so close.
I mean, that's fair. It's fair.
The bad guy from... I was close.
Oh, my God. Yes. No, it's very close.
Yeah.
So, he was originally from Ellsworth, Maine, but was sent to live with his uncle when he was 12 because his mother was abusive and neglectful.
Hate that.
Yeah.
Be nice to your kids.
He attended Ellsworth High School and was a member of the track and wrestling teams. He also was very supportive with younger people. So, like, on the team, if there were newer members, he'd be very supportive, very encouraging. Nice. He was named on the honor roll.
Good.
However, did not graduate high school. So, people knew he had a troubled life, but he was friendly. He seemed like a nice guy. He did have some violent tendencies, but nothing super extreme. So everyone was like, I don't know. He was a regular churchgoer, and he went to Bible study groups. Okay. Now,
what a rager.
Even though this is, even though now you're like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? He has a troubled life. He's a stuff going on. So, At one point, he became confused about where he was going with his life. So he wanted to join the Marines.
Yeah, I get it, bro. Not the Marines part,
But,
though.
right. So he said if he didn't do that, he wasn't really sure of a plan B. So unfortunately, it didn't work out well with that. I don't know if it was they didn't take him. I don't know if he didn't complete the exam. I don't know how it works. So I'm sorry. If I'm not trying to, I'm literally like, I don't know what happened.
If you were in the Marines,
But
tell us what the process is to join the Marines.
I feel like there is a process.
You have to. Like, you sign up.
You have to.
And then
you sign up, but you have to pass things.
I think so.
Physical.
Don't
right?
they do like
I
a
would
mental
think you
check
just-
to make sure you're not nuts?
I think so too.
And then they kind of break you. Then they send you to boot camp and they break you down so you are nuts. And then they make you not nuts again. And they make you sit in the water for a really long time. And then you're a Marine.
Well, yeah,
you ring a bell. No, you ring the bell if you want to go home. No, you ring the bell when you're done.
You ring the bell.
There's a bell and you ring it for a reason. I told you, I'm not a fucking Marine.
I don't know. Anyway, it didn't work out for Thayne. So he wasn't really
Thayne
sure
from Batman.
what to do next. So he felt a little lost. People who knew him suspected he might have gotten involved with drugs. He started.
That's what you
isolating
do in
himself.
Maine. Drugs.
Probably. I mean, in this small town, like,
I bet they knit a
So-
lot too.
that would be a really good hobby because then you can sell it too because it's, like you
Yeah.
can sell your knitted blankets.
Knitting,
you have like your little-
quilting. Maybe there's a lot of
crafting.
canning. Why do I automatically assume everyone in Maine is like a pioneer in the 18? We're knitting. We're canning. We're waiting for the bear to open the log cabin door. I'm so sorry. If you're from Maine, I swear I have respect
There's no
for you.
electricity. We don't.
They have a mill in the backyard. They have that butter churn thing with the wood. You gotta like beat the.
I think it's just kind of like when you think of like small town Maine, and it's like I kind of you go towards like it's wilderness. Like you kind of think that's. But I mean, like obviously they have like the amenities, but like it's just so funny. We're
I
like
have to have a shop, right?
knitting and quilting, and hunting for food and like hunting gathering. Like,
Yeah, they have berries
Oh
and
my
shit.
God.
They
Right.
made a cobbler. Mary Jo is very upset with, the pastor's daughter for riding her bike across her roses. Somebody had
Yeah,
to,
like,
Tom Sawyer had to whitewash the fence yesterday.
Whitewash the
and then he,
fence.
that Tom Sawyer paid off all the other little kids to do it for it. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please tell your story and make me stop talking.
I could think it. So it seemed to a lot of people that they were trying to, it's like Thayne was trying to find a purpose. They were trying to help him. So including like a reverend, an actual political figure in the town who he actually worked with on a campaign. They were trying to set him up and actually help him find work because they knew he was, again, this is like 200 people in this town. So one person's sad, everyone bakes them a cake and tries to make them feel better. That's kind of what I think. Like
Somebody knitted
like,
him a sweater. Tom Sawyer whitewashed his barn for him.
It was like, you know what? Like, hey, I'm going to help out.
Somebody
with
walked his goat. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah,
Fed the
like
chickens.
so there are people that are behind him on this. It's just that he kind of seemed to fall off a little bit. So now we're going to jump to 2010 when he was 20. So he actually moved to Orant to live with Robert and Joy Strout. He knew them because they were friends of his mom or some. Again, well, it's muddy. I don't know, but anyway. In exchange for letting him stay, he could help with the chores, take care of the animals. They had a bigger, kind of like a farmhouse type of thing you could expect. So, like, take care of the animals, do some chores. We'll give you a room, whatever. Their daughter, Tamara, was apparently, she was friends with Thayne's mother. Again, the mother who abandoned him and was neglectful and all that kind of stuff. So, the plan was eventually for Thayne to move in with Tamara and her daughter because apparently the two of them were dating. The daughter, not Tamara.
Okay.
So Thayne was dating her daughter. So he was going to move in with mom and his girlfriend, which I guess because, again, he had a checkered past, it's kind of like I want to help, and we want to, we want to give him somewhere to stay. I love him, Mom.
So basically,
So,
we have a constant Victorian date with a chaperone in the middle of
yeah.
Maine.
Yeah.
And all I'm fucking picturing is Bane and Poison Ivy now from
Oh my
Batman
goodness.
Forever dating. Okay, keep going. I'm really doing well with
All right.
this.
So he actually learned while he was staying with Robert and Joy that the family had a little bit of animosity towards this man, Jeff Ryan, because Jeff and Tamara were married, had the daughter together, but apparently things didn't work out, and it was kind of like a rough end to their marriage.
Okay, that sucks.
So they did have a child. Now she's at 16, which again, 20 and 16, it's a little sketchy. It's a little Romeo and Juliet type of
I
situation.
don't
I
love
really like
that.
it that much, but
I don't love that. Even with the mom chaperoning 24/7. Sorry.
I agree.
Don't love it.
Now he's not living with them yet, but he's he's with her grandparents basically.
Yeah, I still don't love it.
It's still not. I have the ick.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Mick.
So Jeff, Tamara's ex-husband, was a Vietnam vet who had 3 kids total. Jesse was his 10-year-old, who he had a marriage with Jamie Merrill, who ended the marriage because she claimed that there was abuse.
Oh.
But there really wasn't any, it's kind of not sure, because in 1992 the only charges on Jeff was disorderly conduct. So there was no constantly getting called for domestic abuse. Who knows? Maybe she was, and it just wasn't,
Yeah.
But Robert also told Thayne that Jeff was a drug dealer, specifically selling pills. He was addicted to painkillers. Again, he was a Vietnam vet, so there's that whole... But there is no evidence to this. It's just that Grandma and Grandpa are not happy that their daughter married this guy who seems to be a piece of shit, which we don't even really know if he is a piece of shit or not. So Grandpa, Dad's just saying, oh my God, what an asshole he is. He's probably selling pills, and he's probably ruining people's lives. And this kid, probably not the one to be talking to about this stuff, because he already has a little bit of there's stuff going on with him. We're going to see that he's a sociopath, but we'll get there.
Okay.
So June 22nd, 2010, Thayne and Jeff had kind of known each other because he did some housework with him. So it wasn't unusual for Thayne to go to his house.
Okay.
And be like, hey, I'm doing some chores. I want to know some more information, whatever. There was a source that said the two of them didn't have a good relationship, or there was a point when they got into an argument because Thayne is dating his daughter, and he doesn't particularly enjoy that. Again, Thayne's 20, his daughter's 16.
I don't particularly enjoy that, so yeah.
Yes, she doesn't. Yes, she doesn't live with Jeff, but at the same time, he's like,
that's my little girl.
Stop. So Thayne had gone this particular day to the home of Jeff. He said, again, one source said that he went there because there was need of fixing something. So he went to go ask. He was kind of trying to take on whatever. Jeff's friend, Jason Deham, along with Jeff's 10-year-old son, Jesse, were home with Jeff at the time. It appeared the 3 men, I guess 20 is a man, supposedly, they had drinks, there was discussion. It seemed as though everything was fine.
Okay.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah,
So, Jeff went to the shed to show Thayne some nails for an upcoming project that he was doing. So he was like, this is what I'm going to be using. Thayne followed him out and stabbed him to death in the back.
The fuck?
and left him in the shed. Upon re-entering the house, he knew, in his mind, he had to kill Jason and Jesse because they'd seen him. So he stabbed Jason and left him to die, and then he went after the 10-year-old who was scared.
I'm scared.
Of course.
I don't like it. I don't like him.
Unfortunately, Jesse was stabbed 5 times, and he was dead. Jason was still alive. He was trying to escape, and this is where Thayne ended up chasing him down the road, stabbing him a couple more times before cutting his throat.
So he definitely turned into Bane.
Yes, yeah. It's a bloodbath.
I don't like it.
Fucking terrible. So the next day, Jason's brother was concerned. He'd been calling his brother. He hadn't heard from Jason, and he was like, something's not right, but I know that he was at Jeff's house, so I'm going to go check and see if everything's okay. When he got to the trailer home, Jeff's truck wasn't there, but after looking in the window, he saw a lot of blood. So he called the cops. Again,
so smart.
You call the cops. You don't just walk into these things.
No. How long did it take the cop to get there when you're in rural Maine with 200 and something people? I bet you it definitely took like a half hour, 45 minutes.
You feel like there's got to be like one police station, right? So
you would hope. Some of those places, they like share cops. Like a couple towns will share, like it's a county thing. A sheriff.
Some are volunteer stuff too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But either way, they came, I guess, quickly as they could. They found Jeff's body in the shed.
They got on their covered wagon and with their ox and made their fucking way in 2010.
They're buggy. They're
ringing the bell.
Oh my god!
I'm so sorry.
This is 2010, by the way, for everybody. Like Sam thinks that this is like the 1700s.
No, I know it's 2010. I'm still like 1899. Fuck it, let's go. Donner party of 20. We're over. Like I can't. I know it's 2010, and I'm so sorry, people from Maine. I have a problem. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's Sam.
I just think Sam thinks we're in a different times period.
Dude,
it's like,
the fucking hour we lost or gained, I don't fucking know what happened today. I was feeding the baby. It was 3:45. All of a sudden, it was 5 something, and I'm like, no. But it was.
By the way, and this is just a thought. For our, Canadian neighbors and our, overseas people who listen, is this a thing? Do you change?
No, only the United States does. And even parts of the United States don't do it.
So they don't even know what. So they
have no idea.
Arizona.
I mean, people probably know from
it's like no.
Yeah, Arizona was like, fuck you. I'm not doing that.
Which is fine.
Good for them. Stand your ground, Arizona. The rest of us are fucked. Now I'm going to have to figure out how to convince my child that it's not time to eat.
Right?
Or maybe she'll eat earlier now and I can go to bed earlier. But then I have to wake up earlier. Sorry, Sam mom problems, not yours. Let's go back to 1879/2010 in Maine.
So they found Jeff's body in the shed. They found Jesse's body in the home. And Jason was in a ditch on the property because he tried to get away. A few days later, Jeff's truck was found burned around 15 miles away from the home.
Wow. That sucker got far.
Yeah. So then the interview happened. So police brought in Thayne for questioning June 29th.
He came back?
He he didn't go anywhere.
Bitch, I would have jumped the fucking border so fast and be like, no, I'm Canadian, eh?
Yeah.
Come back, honestly, here I come.
Well, here's the thing. Once we get a little bit more of his interview and stuff, you have to,
okay.
His mind is just not okay. So they found his fingerprints in the home because they had all been drinking together. So, of course, his fingerprints were there. Thayne insisted he knew Jeff but had no involvement with the murder.
Okay.
In fact, Thayne was trying to help officers with more information by being like, this could have happened. This could have happened. This is, again, why Sam's freaking out right now. The number one thing
don't do that.
Sam tells is don't offer information. But our friend Thayne never listened to Sam before.
Lawyer up. It is the police officer's job to do this. Don't help the police, not because you don't want to help, but because it makes you look bad.
It does.
It makes you look bad. Don't do it. Homie, don't do it. People need to listen to me more. I yell it at the TV all the time. I yell it on my soapbox over here.
Honestly, at this point, they weren't really sure if it was Thayne, but they kind of, because he's offering information, there's a couple of other things. They're asking him, what kind of person do you think would do this? And he was like, I don't know, someone cold, someone, not
a Batman villain named
person.
Thayne.
Yeah, like a Bob. They were asking him how well he knew Jeff. They said, hey, he was like, I was at Jeff's place, but that was 2 weeks ago. I wasn't there since, so maybe that's why you found the prints. And he says, but I've never met Jason before. Okay. So then he proceeded to draw a diagram of the house.
Stop.
To show cops where he was 2 weeks ago. So he's like, okay, so here's the bedroom.
So I walked in. The bear opened the door for me, and I walked inside. Then I had a can of pop. Then this is where I took a shit in the bathroom. Then I came back out. I had to go back in and put the seat down because, I took a shit and pissed, and then I put it back down. Then I came back out. I washed the dish.
I washed the dish.
The bear opened the door and let me out, and I went home. I got in my covered wagon from my Batman mobile. I love how I'm meshing so many things.
There's 5 different things going on right now.
He's a Batman villain from the Victorian era, fucking middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Huckleberry Finn is involved.
Huckleberry Finn. What is happening right now?
And we have an animatronic bear that opens your door. I'm done. The country bear jamboree comes and opens the door for you.
Oh my god, I love it.
This has gone off the rails.
So, as Sam said, do less. So he's drawing a diagram of the property, of the house, saying this is where I was 2 weeks ago, whatever. And the cops were like, listen, the beer bottles we found were not from 2 weeks ago. Okay, they were from pretty recent. So you had to have gone over his house within a couple days ago. So it's not, So they're showing him the pictures of how the bottles were found. And they're saying, also, the bottles are here. There's 3 of them. You said you never met Jason. So why would there be 3? So they're trying to kind of piece together these things. At this point, they have a pretty good idea that he's involved somehow.
Was it the diagram that gave him away?
I mean, it's the prints, but also the fact
definitely
that
the diagram.
He just offered it. They weren't show us what's going on in the house. He just got up on the whiteboard. I'm telling you, this was bizarre watching this. Okay, first of all, where I found this is
imagine you just started playing Hangman and was like, if you get this right, I'll tell you what happens on the door. I just always wanted to write on a whiteboard, guys. I'm so excited. Is that a whiteboard? Is that a whiteboard? Hold on. Give me that marker. I'm taking over the investigation.
There's a docu-series on Max called Signs of a Sociopath. And he was one of the episodes. And they're going through, and it's fucking bizarre. They're talking to him, his body language, how he's trying to be super helpful and super engaging. He's drawing on and I'm like, what is happening right now? Why are you doing this?
Charlie Day.
Sit down.
In the docu-series. He just sees his red lines.
Sit down and just answer questions, and that's it. So, okay. They also said, listen, not only were you saying you've never met Jason before, but his prints were on the beer bottles. You were all together. Okay. Your prints were also found on the walls. So, we know you were there. We know it was recent. And then he said, I plead the 5th. But he never requested a lawyer.
Oh. So many mistakes.
So he kept talking.
Stopped.
How
do you plead the 5th and keep talking? What an oxymoron. I plead the 5th, but I'm also going to have mouth diarrhea at the same fuck time.
He just and I feel like a part of him really how he mentally thought of this. Like, he's like, I'm going to plead the fifth because I think that I'm caught, but I'm still going to keep going. So, like, because I want to tell my story. So, like, there's a lot of, I don't know.
The worst fucking murder I've ever heard. And we've heard some stupid people on that.
Yeah, we've heard really stupid ones. Oh my God.
Okay.
So he realized at one point, as the cops are questioning, that they were like, we know.
Commissioner Gordon's there.
Just tell us what happened. Just tell us what happened. So he asked the police then, how detailed do you want me to be? And they're like,
spill the tea.
What happened? We need to know.
Do you need the whiteboard still? Like, do you want to draw a map?
This is the day I thought of it. This is what happened. No, I don't even.
At 2:00, I wiped my ass. At 2:15, I did it again. Then I came out. I washed the dish.
I washed a dish.
And then I killed everybody.
And then I killed everybody in the house, and I just walked out like nothing.
Instead of taking my fucking beer bottle. Oh my God.
I see. When you kind of see like his mind process here, you're gonna understand why it to him. But
okay.
So he proceeded to confess of everything that happened. He said it was premeditated. He had planned to kill Jeff, but he didn't. Again, Jason and Jesse were kind of just there, so he had to, then he asked. When asked by the police, what should we tell the families? Thayne told the police to tell them it wasn't personal and he was sorry for Jason and for Jesse. He's not sorry for Jeff, though. He's sorry for the other two.
I have so many things to say.
His motive, he said, he believed Jeff was a notorious drug dealer and so evil that he had to go. And he said, I think the families are in a better place now. Like, I think that without him, it's better.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he doesn't think he did anything wrong, except for, the collateral damage. Don't take that personal.
Don't take that personal because I killed Jeff too, and that makes everything okay.
That makes everything better because that was the goal. But his 10-year-old son who had zero to do with it and his friend who happened to just be coming over for a beer, sorry.
My next point, and you can tell me if I'm stretching here. He killed them, the other two, Jesse and
the son,
Jason.
Jesse and Jason.
Killed them because...
all J's.
I know, that's why it's
confusing.
fucking with me.
That's confusing.
So... he killed them because they were going to be able to out him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
But he told on himself anyway.
Uh-huh.
So what was the fucking point? What was the point?
I don't think he thought he was going to be caught because he wasn't expecting other people to be at the house, so it was going to just be like okay, somebody.
So then you change your tactic and go, maybe I should come back at a different time and kill this evil human.
Right. No, this was the day. In his mind, this was the day. It was this day or no day.
Carpe diem.
Yeah. So this is again the mind of a sociopath. So like it's very like I'm telling you, watch that episode of the docuseries. It's Signs of a Sociopath because it's freaking bizarre. Because he just like after they found him out, he was just like, oh no, I did a good thing. Like he's the vigilante, like taking care of everybody. Now, meanwhile, it has never been proven that Jeff was a drug dealer. It was never proven. The guy that he lived with, so
just
Jeff's father-in-law, just was like, wow, what a fucking piece of shit he is. So he took that as he's a drug dealer and I have to get rid of him.
I cannot.
No.
So I killed everybody, but I'm not going to. I killed everybody because I didn't want anybody to tell on me, but I'm going to go to the police. But the police are going to bring me in, and I'm going to pretend I didn't do anything still, but maybe I did do something. Okay, let me tell you everything. But it's okay that I did all this, so I really shouldn't have hid it from you anyway because I saved the world, even though I am a Batman villain. okay,
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon, take me away.
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
I hate people.
Yep.
This is why I stay in my house all the time.
Yeah, right? So Robert Strout, again, father-in-law to Jeff and person that Thayne was staying
Yes.
with, was interviewed
Cool.
after Thane's arrest. He told the police June 22nd or 23rd, he wasn't sure. He was on the porch and he saw Thayne coming out of the woods with his clothes and bike covered in blood.
How does bike get covered in blood? Oh, because his clothes are covered in blood? Ew.
Right, yeah. It's a bloodbath. He slit someone's throat.
Please, okay, we're good.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So Thayne told him he killed them all, meaning Jeff, his son, and
This is
Jason.
the worst fucking Batman villain ever.
I know. So Thayne then said, we have to get rid of Jeff's truck. So Robert followed him as he dumped the truck.
What?
And they lit it on fire.
What?
He also said to police, Thayne threw the knife in a bog so that the knife was never recovered. And this will be a constant concern as to why you didn't call the police.
Thank you. That was my next question. Did you lose your phone? Is it because it's the 1800s and you don't have one? You couldn't send a courier pigeon?
Send for the sheriff.
Where's the animatronic bear that opens the door? He doesn't know how to go tell the police that there's whoops, a murder happened?
Moira, get the sheriff.
Get in your covered fucking wagon and get your ox and roll your ass to town and tell them, hey, this kid who's living with me is a psycho and murdered people.
So, yeah.
Please tell me he got hit with something. Obstruction of justice, hiding a criminal,
Yes.
not telling people when there was a whoops. Like, hello?
So, the trial happened. Thayne pled not guilty by reason of insanity. So the case had to be tried in two phases. One, to determine if he was criminally responsible, and then I assumed to determine sentencing. But they have to see, are you able to stand trial, and then can we, proceed? Prosecution argued he was aware of what he was doing.
Yeah.
He had washed his hands after the murder. He took items from the crime scene with his fingerprints, except for the beer bottle.
Dumbass.
And threw the murder weapon away. He also set fire to Jeff's truck. So he specifically...
And had an accomplice.
Yes.
Tampering with evidence. That's what it's called. Tampering with evidence. Found it.
So a psychologist examined him. So Dr. Catherine Thomas testified he is, quote, out of touch with reality.
No shit.
Thinking he was ridding the world of a bad man and somehow boosting his resume as an assassin. So he's sitting there going, I did a good thing. And you should be happy. I did your job for you. And the cops are like, the fuck is happening?
Bitch, please.
Yeah. So he suffered from delusional disorder, which is a type of psychosis in which the sufferer feels that something is happening to them or around them when it really isn't. I didn't know that was a disorder. So...
I mean, it's a psychosis. It sounds like a yeah.
So it's interesting because they said he...
But now is that like an all the time thing, or does it happen like occasionally?
Honestly, I feel like when he got when Robert was like, this guy's a bad man, and he's dating this guy's daughter. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like he got to a point where he was like, no, I have to protect everybody. Everybody. So
don't know what to do with this information right now.
April 13th, 2011, he was found guilty of 3 counts of murder, 1 count of arson.
Cool.
And he was given 3 life sentences.
Thank God.
He has appealed on multiple occasions.
I'm shocked.
But of course, none of them were ever approved.
Perfect.
Robert was also arrested and charged with hindering apprehension and arson.
Cool.
And given 4 years, which resulted in a plea deal. So he was able to plea it down. But at the same time, again, like, bro.
Like, where were you? What were you thinking?
If you're afraid of this kid, like he comes and he's like, I killed them, and you're like, okay, all right, okay, you just stay there. I'm gonna.
Dude, I totally get it. I understand
You're
what
right.
you did. You
You're
were
right.
absolutely right. Hold on. You go wash off on the hose because you're not coming in my house like that. I'm going to go get gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm getting my gloves, I'm calling 911 because you are psycho.
And yeah, we'll dump.
And then we'll take
together.
the truck. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Where do you think we're gonna do that so I can? Okay, yeah, I'm just saying because maybe
I have a really no. I have a great place where we're going to dump this truck. Like I said, I'm going to go get my gloves. And I'm going to like
I'll follow you there.
Wash off and we'll go together. No, we'll go together. I'll drive the truck. You seem a little, you need to chill because, you know, you just killed a whole bunch of people. You're tired now, right? Yeah, I'll drive. We don't want you guys to an accident on top of it. It's a cool down period. You ride shotgun, wash off. We'll get in the truck. I will drive right to the sheriff's department. But I just got to give them a heads up. I got to go get my gloves. You good? Good.
I gotta go get my gloves. I'm getting the gloves.
I'm gonna go get the gloves. Brush my teeth, dude. I might have to take a shit because now I'm nervous. I got a nervous shit coming, and then we'll go.
It's okay. I totally just stay right there. I'm on your side.
You know, I got you, bro. I got you.
So yeah, that's
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I was not. And if you look at all of the resources, like I had to go through a lot because there was not a lot on this case because it's such a small town, but I was not giving up on
No,
this.
that was
like,
something.
I need to know.
I need the
to
answers.
know what is going on? So
wow.
There you have it. Our
Thank
Batman
you.
villain.
Our Batman villain from I don't even know what fucking ever I've decided they're in.
Maine.
Who lives in Maine. Who has an animatronic bear.
Animatronic bear that opens doors.
I don't fucking know what I was doing.
And a covered wagon that...
Fucking moose. I don't know. Canadians somehow got involved.
This is a great episode.
I'm not even high or drunk.
This is just...
Like, I'm just here. I'm just here.
I think we did a Patreon one time where both of us were drinking during the Patreon.
Yes, we've done a couple of those.
This is off... I was like, this is off the rails. But this is not that.
No, this is something else.
This is 10 o'clock in the morning.
In the morning on a Sunday.
In the morning on a moida. In Maine.
In Maine. All right, well, you ready? You ready for crazy?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Let's keep it going. We're just going to keep it going.
Crazy.
All right, so we're going to Staten Island.
I love it.
Staten Island. We're going there. Here we are.
City.
New York City. Staten Island. And we're in the 1800s, so off we go. So I am covering... Maybe this is what the problem was the whole time.
Maybe
I don't fuck know. Let's go.
Maybe that's the problem.
So I'm coloring Sailor Snug Harbor.
Okay.
Also known as Snug Harbor. It's set on an 83-acre park in New Brighton on the north shore of Staten Island, baby.
Snug sounds so comfy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be comfy.
It's not. I mean, it's not the idea was there. So,
okay.
Snug Harbor was founded through the bequest of Captain Robert Richard Randall. All right, so he was a Revolutionary War soldier and shipmaster, and he left his estate to build an institution to care for, quote, aged, decrepit, and worn-out seamen.
That's not nice. Age decrepit.
I mean, like I said, the idea was there. The thought was there. So, you know, he really wanted to give up a whole bunch of his land in Manhattan, but Manhattan was like, ooh, we could use that land for something better. So we're going to send all that shit over to Staten Island, where, believe me, look at the shores, the oceans. You love it. You're going to be great. It's not, but whatever.
I mean, it's not.
No. And what's really fun, here's a fun fact that I got very excited about. Robert Richard Randall's will was drawn up by Alexander Hamilton.
Oh.
Fun fact.
There he is.
There he is.
Alexander
I'm going to insert
Hamilton.
him wherever I can. Him, the Titanic, Lizzie Borden, Salem. I got this.
Mobs.
Mobs. Oh, yeah, the Mafia.
The Mafia.
Definitely love the Mafia. So, okay. So Snug Harbor opened in August of 1833 and became the country's first home for retired merchant seamen. And only retired seamen were allowed to be here, not their families. So basically a bunch of old men lived in this little town, and they built it up so they wouldn't have to leave. Like, they could just kind of think of, you know how, what is it? Amsterdam, Denmark, one of those. They have like little towns for the elderly with Alzheimer's.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw this on Instagram, so it must be true. But some really awesome European country that is totally escaping me right now because I have mom brain. They set up a little town where, like, the old people with dementia and Alzheimer's can go and live on their own, but everybody there is somehow medical or a help, an apprentice, like somebody who's going to help these people, but they can still live their day-to-day lives.
I love that.
So, okay, the residents were referred to as inmates just because of the time. From 1867 to 84, Captain Thomas Melville, a retired sea captain and brother of Moby Dick author Herman Melville, was the governor. Herman. And then in 1890, Captain Gustavus Trask, who was another governor of Snug Harbor, built the Randall Memorial Chapel and a music hall. And then slowly but surely, Snug Harbor became a self-sustaining community with its own hospital, livestock, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, which I added. I don't really know if there was one. There were stores, a church, obviously, and much, much more.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
okay.
They never needed to venture off campus if they didn't want to. They even had, like, Broadway caliber plays come into, like, that music hall. Like, so, like, they would bring a tour in so that the people could see, like, the shows and everything. Basically, because you serve the country's going to serve you and let you live out your golden years here.
It's wonderful. It's like a college, like, town. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Old men, this is great.
Yeah, for old sailors. So, okay. Snug Harbor expanded from its original 3 buildings to 50 structures. And at its peak in the 1950s or so, it had about 1,000 people. Or in the late 19th century, they had about 1,000 retired sailors living there. And this was one of the wealthiest charities in New York. However, by the mid-20th century, Snug Harbor was in financial difficulty. Structures fell into disrepair. Some had to be demolished. And as programs like Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid came around, there really was no need for a Snug Harbor because the government was taking care of them. So by the 1950s, there were fewer than 200 residents, and it kind of closed down. On September 12th of 1976, the Snug Harbor Culture Center was open to the public. The buildings were added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1972. The grounds were declared a National Historic Landmark in 1976. And in 2008, the Cultural Center and the Staten Island Botanical Gardens merged to become the Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Gardens. So now they are very much protected. You can go visit everything. It's still standing. And it's not one of the wealthiest charities, but it is, still held as a major part of history in Staten Island. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you a little about what happened in Snug Harbor.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a bunch of old men together. So stuff gets weird. So I'm going to tell you the tale of the matron and the butcher.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
I say it's a tale because 90% of this is not confirmed in any way, shape, or form.
Got it.
So the matron, was a woman who was hired. Again, all men lived here. And the only time women were there were if they were hired in to kind of take care of stuff. So nurses, people to clean up, shit like that. So the matron was responsible for all the linens and dormitories at Snug Harbor. She was considered a very large woman, and this actually does matter later on.
Okay.
She's considered a very large woman, and she often worked in the laundry building. That was across the way from her house. So there was actually like a matron's house that she had, and then across the street was the laundry, and she had people who worked under her. And this matron was very stern, very strict, and she had a non-fraternization policy for her assistants, and that meant they were forbidden from mingling with the sailors.
Okay.
But of course, this rule apparently didn't apply to the matron herself, and she had an affair with one of Snug Harbor's resident sailors, Herman Ingalls. The matron ended up getting pregnant. I know, you're shocked. Quelle surprise. And it became clear that their affair wasn't going to stay a secret for much longer. So since they weren't married, the child would be illegitimate. So they didn't really feel comfortable going to the campus doctor or hospital for the birth of the baby because then, everybody's going to know. So instead, the matron came up with this awesome idea. I'm going to tell my girlfriend, the butcher's wife. And, the butcher, because, he's a butcher and he knows about, like, anatomy and shit, must have some sort of medical knowledge in some way, shape, or form. He's going to help me have my baby. And then we don't have to tell anybody. And the butcher's like, are you stupid? What a bad idea. But, happy wife, happy life. So he goes, all right. So the time comes, the baby, it's a boy. We had a baby, it's a boy, was born breech. The umbilical cord was wrapped around its neck. The boy had lost a ton of oxygen, suffered several birth defects. And as a result, the butcher was very upset. Now, the matron and the baby survived, but the butcher's still really upset. Like, what if I had done things differently? What if I had known more? What if I had been more prepared? And he started...
You're not a doctor.
He's not a doctor. Okay. It's not his fucking job. His job is to make hamburgers that are banging and to cut me ribs and to make sure I have, like, fucking awesome meat. It's not his job to birth babies. That's why we have doctors. There's a difference. So he's super upset and he turns to alcohol to self-medicate. So he kind of becomes an alcoholic. And his wife starts getting pissed because, happy wife, happy life is out the window. And she starts locking him out of his house. So unfortunately, one night it's cold. He's drunk. The wife locks the door, won't let him in. He falls asleep on his front porch and freezes to death.
Oh.
Not great. So now we're back to the matron and Herman. Now they need to figure out what to do with this fucking kid because, what the fuck do we do with this kid? So trying to keep his existence a secret, they keep him in the basement of the matron's house. This worked for years, decades even, but the kid got bigger, and Herman wasn't exactly a big guy, He's older. He's a retired fucking sailor. And he quickly became big enough to overpower him, basically. So Herman and the matron start to worry, what are we going to do with this kid? He can't live in the basement forever. I mean, he already has a deficit. He's living in the basement. He has some issues. And they just keep him chained up down there all day. Like, literally chained in the basement to the wall because they don't want him to escape. And they're starting to worry. So Herman's like, I'm going to get help. And the matron's like, the fuck you mean you're going to get help? He's like, don't worry about it. I got this. So Herman decides to go to the chaplain of Snug Harbor, Reverend Quinn. And the matron's like, dude, this is a bad fuck idea. And Herman's like, nah, man, he's a pastor, he's a reverend. He's gonna help us out. He's gonna fucking help you, dude. I'm sorry.
No.
But he goes, and he tells Reverend Quinn that he had in fact raped the matron. The child was a result of the incident. And he told the Reverend he wanted to confess his sins to keep the matron from getting in trouble or experiencing shame for this illegitimate child, and that he needed help now because the child's here. And Reverend Quinn looks at him and is like, you raped the matron? Because the matron is a curvy bitch. He's like, this doesn't... The math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin' here, dude. There's no fucking way this happened. So, Reverend's looking at him, and Herman's like, I fucked up. I fucked up big. I shouldn't have told you shit. And the Reverend's like, cool. I don't know what to do with this information anymore. Like, your story, your math ain't mathin'. Your story doesn't story.
I don't know what to do with
I don't know what to do with this information, but thanks for telling me. And Herman realizes the huge mistake he made. So later on January 31st, 1863, and this is the only part of this story that is absolutely confirmed, Herman confronted the Reverend in front of Maine Hall C, which was the first building that was ever there and was renamed Maine Hall C. According to accounts printed in the paper, Herman said in front of people, "You'll expose me," quote, this is a quote, "you'll expose me. I know you will if you live." And he shot the Reverend. He then turned the gun on himself and left his face and jaw absolutely mutilated. So they both died there.
Bro.
News of what Herman had done got back to the matron, and she wasn't sure if anybody besides the Reverend knew about the boy at this point. You know, like, what if the Reverend talked? So she runs to her house, because she's not at her house. She runs to her house and down into the basement and is like, oh my God, thank God the kid is still here, chained up. And she unchains him, hugs him, is like, oh my gosh, you know, there was a problem, da da da. And she's crying hysterically, absolutely in hysterics. And as she's like calming herself down, she realizes, wait, I'm not holding my kid anymore. Where did the kid go? So he had somehow gotten up the stairs but hadn't gotten outside. But now he's looking outside. So he knows now there's more than just the basement. Because he's been locked and chained in a basement. And he's like, I don't want to go back down there. I want to go out there. And the matron's like, no, you need to come back downstairs. And he's like, I don't want to. I want to go out there. And he picks up a pair of rusty-ass scissors and stabs her to death. And escapes and runs away. So eventually he comes to his senses and is like, I fucked up. You know, I fucked up bad. And he runs. And people see him running across the campus, covered in blood. And they capture him. And his captors didn't want to wait for justice. They're like, nah, man, we fucking got this. They don't know who died. They don't know who he killed. They don't know where the blood came from. They don't know any of this. But they knew he did something bad. So they string him up right there on the campus over an oak tree. And
holy fucking shit.
He's hanged.
Oh my God. These people don't play around.
Yo, we're in Staten Island. So tragically, Herman, the matron, the boy, and the Reverend all die in Snug Harbor on the very same day. And now Snug Harbor leaders are freaking out. They're in absolute panic mode because they know the press is on its way to talk about the murder-suicide. And now they're going to find out about the matron with the kid. And then we just had a vigilante justice occur. So, like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong very fucking quickly. So they take the kid, they find the matron, and they're like, oh, shit. So they bring them over to the Monkey Hill Cemetery and bury them in unmarked graves before the press can get there. So this is where I say, Christ. Is the matron's story actually true? The only thing that is documented is that Herman Inville went up to the Reverend in front of Maine Building C and said the line and shot the Reverend and then shot himself. That is literally the only documented thing. There's actually nothing connecting Herman to the matron in any way, shape, or form. But this is the story that has been contrived over the years. Another version of the story is pretty much the same. You know, the matron was having an affair with an inmate, became pregnant, gave birth to the baby, left the baby in the basement. The baby grew up into a son, and one day he escaped the basement, creeped up on the mom, the matron, who was on the second floor doing her little whatever, and stabbed her with a pair of rusty scissors, then ran out and, you know, got caught, got hung, the whole nine. But there really is nothing. The story stands true. It's just, is it true? And
is it true?
Did it have anything to do with Herman at all? Like,
right.
But this is one of the big, holy shit, that happened in Sailor Snug Harbor. But that's probably not the only haunting that happened here. And let's go through some of the buildings now.
Okay.
So Main Hall C, this is where the murder-suicide happened. In the main hall, people have heard footsteps, keys jingling, doors opening, closing, including slams. They've seen reflections and shadows where there shouldn't be any. And there have been figures that have been seen on the balconies when nobody's actually there. Now, I should have prefaced this already. We have to remember that there were a ton of sailors who lived here. You know, they finished out their lives here. This was their last known place. So there there's probably a lot more here than just this one story that I'm telling. That's where I'm going with that. I just want to make sure I make that note. One woman has claimed that on the steps of Maine Hall C, where, you know, the murder-suicide happened, they witnessed a misty black substance going up the banister. And people have also heard screams and sounds of gunshots in the night, even though it happened during the day. But who am I? So now we're on to the matron's house. So now Ghost Hunters has been here, and, you know, our best friends from Ghost Adventures have also been here. I love that for us. But Ghost Hunters actually got a lot in the matron's house, so I got names this time. You're welcome. So in case you didn't hear the last episode, I'm very new to Ghost Hunters, but they usually go in teams, and the teams will investigate the same thing at different times to kind of fact check each other, and they debunk a lot, which is something I love. So Tango and Steve go into the matron's house. They hear a chair sliding. Then Adam and Amy have a flashlight conversation with an invisible entity. They hear breathing and footsteps. There's like a crazy like flurry of activity that happens, and then they ask, you know, is this the matron? And they catch a voice whisper, no. Jason, Grant, and Meredith go into the creepy basement where they say the boy had been chained. They didn't really get anything, but then they head outside and they see that there's an oak tree that's dropping acorns on the chapel bell. So they think they're hearing like the chains or the noises, and this is debunking that for them. But while they're out there, they have their thermal imaging camera out, and they spot movement in the shape of like a human on the green. So maybe something was dropping the stuff on the bell to get their attention to go outside. That was kind of my interpretation. Don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
Then Jason and Grant hear noises in the matron's house, and out of nowhere they hear a loud, clear female voice speaking. They think it's speaking Spanish, but either way, shape, or form, they freak out. I get it. Then we're going to move to the governor's house now. So it's not like the governor of Staten Island or the governor of New York. It's like the governor, it was like the guy who's in charge at any given time. So this story comes from the website Visit All the Places, and they were on a tour of so in October they do ghost tours here, so they were on one of the ghost tours. And they said none of the lights would turn on inside the governor's house when they went in. So they stumbled around in the dark with only their flashlights, and the guide mentioned that there had been many reports of paranormal occurrences in this house, and 5 years prior to when this happened, they even picked up voices on a recording telling everyone to get out. They didn't really get anything while they were in there, but once they got back outside, they looked back at the house, and one of the lights inside had turned themselves on.
Sounds good.
I'm good. I'm good. It's also been rumored that a couple is sometimes spotted in one of the little love seats in the rose garden just outside the governor's house.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
That's kind of cute. Then we move to the music hall. So multiple rangers are what run it now. Multiple rangers have reported seeing figures or having water bottles thrown at them. One of the prior music directors of Snug Harbor took a photo. They were getting ready to put on a concert, so he took like a picture of the stage as they were getting ready to do whatever to make sure like everything was where it was supposed to be, and they can kind of for continuity for the shows and stuff. And when the picture came back on his digital camera, there was a spot that had like an absence of pixels, and this is in the Ghost Adventures episode. So it almost looks like it's in the shape of a woman, and it's kind of floating in air, and it looks like she's wearing one of those older like Chinese dresses, you know, with like the big arms.
Yes.
And
the kimonos.
Yeah. Thank you. Huh. So they look at this and they're like, why is it in the air though? And this, that, and the other thing. And I think it was Billy And he's like, what if there were stairs there at one point, but because this is something residual, you don't see the stairs anymore. So if they were putting on a show, you know, the person comes out at the top of the stairs and comes down to the stage.
Yes, that makes sense.
Super cool. But it's a really creepy photo that I can't find anywhere. And I really should just watch the episode again and take a picture. But it was crazy. People have also seen a woman, like a very large woman, walking the halls of the music hall, and they wonder if it's the matron herself. So ghost hunters, when they were there, Meredith joins Jason and Grant in the music hall. They immediately all hear footsteps and odd noises like giggling and hooting. And Meredith spots something moving in the balcony, and then Amy and Britt go there and they hear more weird noises. And then I told you about that stuff because I got really excited. I don't like any of that. Yeah. Another building that they didn't really mention. More than one staff member has reported seeing a little girl wandering by herself, but it's like around the building. And again, now there weren't kids who lived here, but they think it could be one of the kids. So there was that church.
Yeah.
So neighboring neighborhoods. Yeah. They go to church. They would go to church there in Snug Harbor, even though they couldn't live there. So they think it's one of the kids of one of the families who probably just went to church on the property.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Ghost Adventures interviewed one guy called Pops, and he told the story of people who are there on site and are like looking like get kind of lost. They act like they'll be approached by someone in like period garb. And he'll bring them wherever they need to go. They'll be like, hey, you know, where's the church? Or where's this one? And he's like, oh, yeah, here, I'll show you. Or tells them how to get there. And they'll be like, oh, that nice man in period clothes showed us. And they're like, yeah, we don't have any actors here.
We don't.
That's not a thing. That's not happening here.
That's not a thing. We didn't. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So that's Sailor Snug Harbor. The Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Gardens is open 7 days a week. You don't need to purchase admission to go there, but there are certain attractions when you're there that you need to purchase admission to, if that makes sense. Okay. And they do offer ghost tours throughout October.
Oh, nice.
And there you have it. Small town murder. That I don't actually we know about the murder suicide, but we don't know about the matron and the kid who was chained up in the basement. So what did we learn? I learned a few things. I learned listen to Sam, because I know everything. No, I don't. Not even a little bit. I'm not even going to pretend. And I also learned, let's just say this whole episode is a fuck around and find out.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
It's not where I thought this episode was going to go.
I did not.
I didn't see it doing this.
But you know what? This is a good learning experience.
Definitely a learning experience. Definitely a learning experience.
I also learned the same thing. Say less.
Yeah.
Don't draw diagrams. Don't tell the preacher about stuff that you don't want him to know. Like, just don't.
Just don't.
Don't make up a story about how you raped a woman and then.
How does that make it better? How does that make it better?
It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better. But that's why I'm like, don't say anything.
This is what you're doing. This is what I want you to do.
Stop.
Shit.
Like, say less. Don't offer more information.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's our episode.
Yeah, that's it.
And thanks for listening. Make sure you come back next week. We release episodes every Tuesday. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media. Instagram, Facebook are big ones for us. We're also on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, tell your friends. Subscribe. Hit the bell if you're on YouTube so you know that we issue new things. If you are all caught up and want to hear a little bit more of our weird, crazy voices and crazy stories, join our Patreon. You can access that through our website, deathbeforebooze.com, and click Patreon. Subscriptions start at $5 a month. And you get to hear tons and tons of really crazy shit, because we put the crazy shit over there because we don't want to get in trouble for putting really bad stuff on the interwebs. Then
it's unhinged too. Like it's unhinged.
You think we're bad here? We're bad there. Yeah. If you want some of our merch, you can also get that at our website. Just click on merch. All of our sources and pictures and everything for this episode are on our blog, so you can fact check us if you want. I hope I did it justice. And other than that, make sure you tell your friends, and we love you so much. And if I forgot something, somebody tell me in the comments. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.